今年这中秋节的生意也真是邪了门了。
This year's Mid-Autumn Festival business is really strange. I get that liquor isn't selling, but how is that even mooncakes aren't moving now? Liquor not selling can be blamed on high prices, but mooncakes aren't even that expensive. Just look, there are more sellers in the supermarket than people browsing for mooncakes.
月饼第一品牌也绷不住啦。
Even the top mooncake brand can't hold on. I've got my whole car packed with mooncakes right now. In the past 2 years, around 20 days before the Mid-Autumn Festival, if you wanted to buy Maxim's mooncakes, the price would go up every day. Everyone was rushing to pre-order and stock up. Whoever stocked them made money. It took connections to even get some in, and once you had them, it was as good as cash. They were like hard currency. But not this year. A friend called me saying they still have 10,000 boxes from July, asking if I could help sell them off. Mid-Autumn Festival is a traditional Chinese holiday, almost as important as Chinese New Year. Mooncakes, as a must-have item for the festival, should be flying off the shelves about a month before the holiday. But this year, the market is unusually quiet. There are many mooncakes brands in China, but because of serious food safety concerns in the country, Hong Kong's Maxim's mooncakes have been the standout in mainland China. As recently as last year, they were still selling like crazy. But this year, even Maxim's is struggling. One distributor explained that with shrinking profits, fewer people are willing to take the risk of stocking mooncakes, leading to a natural drop in sales. Fancy mooncakes are often bought as gifts for business contacts. But in this economy, fewer business gifts are needed. How many regular people are going to spend 300 yuan on 8 small mooncakes? One person commented, "Mooncakes aren't food or a necessity. When people are broke and can't earn a living, how can they afford to spend on luxuries? Wages aren't even being paid, and families are already struggling with water, electricity bills, and school fees. How can they still buy mooncakes? People are barely scraping by, eating a steamed bun at every meal if they're lucky. This year, forget about mooncakes. Even plain porridge with pickles is hard to come by. Right now, more people are just trying to survive, eating only 2 meals a day, noodles at lunch, and a little pork with vegetables for dinner. The kids just started school, and I had to borrow a lot of money for that. Who has any spare cash left to spend on mooncakes?" Another commenter mentioned, "Think about it. What kind of pastry costs a few hundred yuan per pound? Apart from mooncakes, what other pastry is that expensive? Even pastries that cost 30 yuan per pound make people think twice, let alone mooncakes that cost hundreds per pound. It's ridiculously expensive. When people are struggling to make ends meet, who has the energy to care about holidays? Even during the new year, it's the same." Usually, right before the Mid-Autumn Festival, mooncake production lines always buzz with activity. Workers would be working overtime to meet the high market demand. However, things are different this year. Due to a sharp drop in orders, factories have had to adjust their production schedules to cut costs and reduce excess inventory. A report from the Time Weekly quoted a sales manager from a mooncake factory in Shenzhen. He said that in previous years, the 2 weeks before the festival were the busiest, with the factory shipping products even in the middle of the night. But this year, the number of orders has significantly decreased and the workload has lightened as well. A manager from the dining business of a star-rated hotel in Shenzhen shared that since the second quarter, they've noticed a drop in consumer spending. Last year, the hotel sold 13,000 boxes of mooncakes, but this year, the target was reduced to 10,000 boxes, and they still couldn't sell them. A sales manager at a large mooncake factory in Guangzhou mentioned that, due to the lack of orders, some factories are now working 3 days and taking 1 day off, with shipments going out every other day. A food store owner, witnessing the poor sales this year, was conflicted about whether or not to stock mooncakes, so he turned to social media to ask fellow business owners for advice.
离中秋越来越近了。
As the Mid-Autumn Festival gets closer, how are your mooncake gift boxes coming along? In previous years, I would have started selling by now. But this year, I'm still hesitating. The main reason is that fewer people are giving gifts, and younger people are just buying them online and sending them home. I remember in the early years of my store, business was great during the holidays. I could sell 10,000 or 20,000 yuan worth of mooncakes in a single day. Business owners would buy them for employees, students would buy them for teachers, and younger people would buy them for their elders. But now, if I could sell a few dozen boxes during the holiday, I consider it good. What's the situation like for you all? In the comments below his video, another store owner replied, "Selling a few dozen boxes of mooncakes would be a success now. Last year, I only sold less than 20 boxes, so this year I'm not even bothering with gift box packaging. I lost over 1,000 yuan selling mooncakes last year, so this year I'm not selling them at all. I had planned to start selling mooncakes, but no one's placed an order with me so far. It seems like mooncakes are being sold everywhere, but no one's buying. I've decided not to sell them anymore. The economy is in shambles, and almost every industry is frozen. Mooncakes, of course, can't stay popular. As one blogger said, no one has money anymore, so no one can afford mooncakes that cost hundreds of yuan per box. Naturally, the ones that cost 2 yuan each are flying off the shelves.
今年月饼卖不动了。
The reason mooncakes aren't selling well this year comes down to the fact that the middle class and startups just don't have the money anymore. Yesterday, in the elevator, I overheard the boss of a shell company say that both mooncakes and hairy crabs aren't selling this year. Actually, last year, mooncake vouchers and crab gift cards didn't sell well either, and there was no expected growth. People thought that it was just a cyclical thing, but now that it's happening again, it looks like a larger trend. Next year could be even worse. Mooncakes used to be a consumption indicator for the middle class, considered a semi-essential product. Ordinary people would buy them to eat or give as gifts, and companies would bulk purchase them for employees and clients. For regular folks, 5 or 6 years ago, the most popular mooncakes were the iced ones from Starbucks or those from 5-star hotels. These mooncakes came in beautifully packaged boxes of 4 or 8, costing several hundred yuan, a symbol of consumption upgrade. But this year, the best-selling mooncakes are the ones that cost 2 yuan each. The flavors are much simpler too, just black sesame or chrysanthemum sugar. People are just trying to keep up with the ritual of Mid-Autumn Festival in a low-key way. On the business side, mooncake gift boxes used to be a battleground for domestic internet companies, with each company trying to outdo the other in employee perks. Mooncakes were part of the annual benefits package, but in the past 3 years, tens of thousands of people in the tech industry have been laid off. Each box costs around 200 yuan, and with 1 box per person, that market alone used to be worth close to 1 billion yuan. Now, both the people and the mooncakes are gone. According to public data, the entire annual mooncake market in China is only worth about 20 billion yuan. On top of that, many industries are cutting wages and reducing employee benefits. When it comes to non-essential items like mooncakes, which can cost several hundred yuan a box, it's the first thing to be abandoned. One thing this blogger didn't mention is that another major buyer of mooncakes used to be government workers, who would receive them as part of their holiday welfare. Every year around the holidays, government employees would receive all kinds of goods, from cooking oil to rice, and of course, mooncakes were a must for Mid-Autumn Festival. Years ago, news broke about a local government in Penzhou, Sichuan, spending 780,000 yuan on mooncakes. According to a report from September 2020, a government announcement showed that the Economic, Technology, and Information Bureau of Penzhou purchased 2,705 boxes of mooncakes with a budget of almost 1 million yuan, and they finally spent 780,000 yuan on them. Each box cost 289 yuan. At the peak of the pandemic, a small local government department used nearly 1 million yuan to buy over 2,000 boxes of mooncakes, which sparked public outrage. But nowadays, local governments are in bad shape. Civil servants are not being paid on time. It seems so unlikely that they will spend so lavishly on mooncakes as a perk anymore. One media outlet also suggested that the reason mooncakes aren't selling well this year is because people are paying more attention to healthy eating. Modern consumers are more focused on health, and mooncakes, which are usually higher in sugar and fat, don't fit into that lifestyle. Mooncakes have also become more of a tool for social exchanges, given as gifts out of courtesy, but not necessarily because people enjoy eating them. Many are accepted politely but not actually consumed, which contributes to the decline in their popularity. Another blogger believes that besides the fact that people don't have money, another important reason for the drop in mooncake sales is the public's concern about food safety. Just look at the ingredients list. It's full of additives with chemical names that are hard to pronounce. Is that a mooncake or a chemical product?
大家有没有注意一个现象，就是我们现在的月饼卖的
The reason mooncakes aren't selling well on the surface is because they contain too much oil and sugar, which isn't good for your health if you eat too much of them. But I think that's just nonsense. We eat plenty of unhealthy foods, don't we? Do you think hot pot is healthy? Is barbecue healthy? So clearly, that's just a superficial reason. The real issue is food safety. There's a rumor going around online that over 10,000 tons of mooncakes, originally meant to be exported to the European Union, were rejected by the EU because they contained titanium dioxide, and the EU didn't even allow them to be destroyed within its borders. Titanium dioxide is a coloring agent that makes mooncakes look bright and appealing, but it's also something that can cause genetic mutations. The thing is, the mooncakes exported to the EU are supposed to meet high standards and be of good quality. But even those were rejected, and after being sent back, they weren't allowed to be destroyed in Europe. So I have to ask, will they really be destroyed when they return? If not, who will they be sold to? Are the mooncakes we're eating this year really freshly made? With all the recent controversies surrounding prepackaged foods, people's trust in food safety is at an all-time low. On September 27, 2023, Planet Business Review published an article stating that the Rapid Alert System for Food and Feed, which monitors issues within the EU, reported that Finland found titanium dioxide in mooncakes imported from China and subsequently banned their entry. The article explained that titanium dioxide is a common food coloring, colorless and tasteless, also known as titanium white. It has been used to enhance the whiteness and opacity of foods for over 50 years. However, a 2021 study by the European Food Safety Authority concluded that titanium dioxide should no longer be considered a safe food additive because it can damage human DNA. It's worth noting that Chinese candies have also been rejected from the EU multiple times due to the presence of titanium dioxide. On top of that, recent food safety scandals, ranging from cooking oil to various processed foods, have left people on edge. Recently, a customer even found a tooth in a fresh meat mooncake bought from Sam's Club. If even foreign invested companies can't guarantee food safety in China, where can Chinese people find food they can trust? It's not just the high prices of mooncakes that are driving people away, though the cost does leave ordinary folks staring at their thin wallets. The hidden safety concerns are making them even more fearful, leading many to simply give up on buying them. If people think a box of mooncakes costing a few dozen or a few hundred yuan is expensive, what about those costing thousands or even tens of thousands of yuan? A Chinese brand once released a mooncake priced at 12,888 yuan, and there was another mooncake with shark fin and abalone priced at 5,880 yuan. In Zhengzhou, Henan, one brand sold mooncakes for 8,800 yuan. Eventually, this led to 4 departments of the Chinese Communist Party jointly issuing a regulation capping the price of mooncakes at no more than 500 yuan per box. Even at 500 yuan per box, which is about $70, it's still considered extremely expensive, making mooncakes irrelevant to ordinary people and tied more to the world of capital. The Chinese capital market has a unique ability to turn anything into a financial frenzy, whether it's tea or mooncakes. At some point, the Mid-Autumn Festival became a financial celebration. Capital turned mooncakes from a food item into a financial product, cleverly manipulating China's gift-giving culture. Some have even remarked that this level of sophistication would make Wall Street titans marvel. An X-account user named Lao Man posted that mooncakes have essentially evolved into a type of futures contract, primarily used for bribery. The person giving the bribe purchases a mooncake voucher, which acts as a futures ticket, and gives it to the recipient. The recipient then redeems it, which is the equivalent of settling a futures contract. The difference between the voucher price and the redemption price is a profit for the mooncake company. In this entire process, the mooncake itself doesn't even need to be produced. Now, with the economy in deep recession, the demand for bribery has plummeted across industries, leading to a significant reduction in mooncake futures. This drop cuts directly into profits, leaving many food-related companies in a dire situation. A Douyin blogger explained in detail how mooncakes have been given financial attributes. In the past few years, mooncakes have stopped being food meant to be eaten and have instead turned into vouchers that can be circulated in the market. For instance, a company might only produce 10,000 boxes of mooncakes at a price of 80 yuan per box, but will print 100,000 vouchers valued at 498 yuan each. Publicly, the company claims that with these vouchers, you can redeem mooncakes worth 498 yuan. Then they sell 100,000 vouchers to agents for 400 yuan each, and the agents, in turn, sell them to consumers at the full price of 498 yuan. Consumers can now give the voucher as a gift during the Mid-Autumn Festival without having to physically deliver the mooncakes, making it both discreet and convenient. When the gift recipient ends up with too many vouchers, they don't actually redeem them for mooncakes. This is where scalpers come in, offering to buy the vouchers back for 300 yuan each. The scalpers then resell the vouchers to businesses for 350 yuan. Throughout this process, no mooncakes are ever exchanged. A single voucher circles through China's gift-giving culture and eventually lands back in the hands of the business. The business sells it for 400 yuan and buys it back for 350 yuan, earning 50 yuan. The agent buys it for 400 yuan and sells it for 498 yuan, making 98 yuan. And the scalper buys it for 300 yuan and resells it for 350 yuan, making 50 yuan. Even the gift recipient manages to cash in the voucher. Everyone seems to walk away happy. The person who spends 498 yuan on the mooncake voucher may seem like the only one being taken advantage of, but in reality, they're exchanging money for the favor they're giving. It's a willing trade on both sides. This kind of elaborate financial maneuver was once perfected to an art, but with the arrival of the economic winter, even the financial game of mooncakes has collapsed. It's not just mooncakes that are struggling to sell in this tough economy. Even multi liquor, which has dominated the Chinese market for years, is facing difficulties. As the Mid-Autumn Festival approaches, a time when multi and other high-end liquors usually enjoy a sales boom, things are looking bleak this year. The market is unusually quiet, and prices have continued to drop. Even the most popular Fei Tian Multi series is not exempt from the price cuts. On September 6th, today's liquor prices reported that the wholesale reference price for loose bottles of the 2024 Fei Tian Multi had dropped to 2,365 yuan per bottle, while the wholesale price for a full bottle had fallen to 2,595 yuan, breaking below the 2,600 yuan threshold. A liquor store owner in Jinan, Shandong, told a reporter from Haibao News, multi prices will never go up, never. He mentioned that on that day, his store was selling multi in original boxes for 2,600 yuan per bottle, which is a 200 yuan drop from the price of 2,800 yuan just 2 weeks ago. It's just the usual pre-holiday release, but this year is different. Sales are poor, there's more stock than demand, so prices can't go up. A longtime multi-dealer said, "This year's Mid-Autumn Festival is a disaster. Multi prices have dropped continuously for about a week, and sales will likely be less than half of last year's. It's nothing like the old days, where the phone wouldn't stop ringing and we were so busy shipping that we didn't even have time to eat. I've been in the multi-business for 10 years, and I've never seen anything like this. This market is incredibly tough this year." In reality, it's not just mooncakes and multi that are suffering. Since August, every industry has been feeling unprecedented pressure. As soon as they hit the shelves, they tanked. Iced mooncakes, molten center mooncakes, egg yolk pastries, none of them are selling. Fruit sellers are also feeling the squeeze. Nothing is moving, and instead of seeing profits, they're witnessing alarming levels of spoilage. Although August is considered a slow season, even during the slowest times, there would be one or two products that stood out. But this year, no matter the time, not a single hot-selling item has emerged. For the 2024 Mid-Autumn Festival, people aren't focused on mooncakes anymore. They're talking about the bigger picture. Some are saying that the collapse in mooncake sales is a reflection of China's economic future. A downturn lasting 3 to 5 years is part of a cycle, but one lasting 30 to 50 years signals a final decline. The decline in societal demand is a long-term irreversible trend. As more people leave the country and fewer are born, demand will sharply shrink over the next 30 to 50 years. This affects every industry, every family, and every individual.